We're starting. Hello, welcome everyone. I'd like to call to order tonight's school committee meeting. May I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving on to presentations and discussions of issues to the committee. Tonight we have the Superintendent Evaluation that we collectively put together. So we'll briefly go through this. We'll start off here. I'm going to go through the superintendent performance goals. Do you think I should read the performance goals?
Maybe just the header of which. Oh, yeah.
I think I'm going to read these.
Sure.
So under professional practice, the superintendent shall work with the administrative team to develop an awareness of and implement activities and events to promote a positive learning environment for students and a culture of respect and collaboration among their respective faculties. Under professional practice, we assigned it significant progress for Mr. Kozork. Under student learning goals, mathematics will continue to be an area of focus for the superintendent, and he shall ensure that this is the priority for building administrators and educators across the district. This also, the third student learning is the superintendent will continue to promote the use of data at the building level to better analyze, interpret, and use data to ensure greater alignment of instruction to the Massachusetts frameworks. Under student learning, it was significant progress. District improvement goals. The superintendent shall supervise the building project of the new intermediate school, working closely with the district's director of facilities, the owner's project manager, and the architects to ensure that a beautiful, cost-efficient school is built. Number 5, the superintendent shall maintain a detailed budget development process allowing for input for staff, administration, and school councils, and providing transparency for all constituencies. And under other goals, the superintendent will be visible and accessible to the administrative team, faculty, members, and parents of our students. Under this category, we decided that he met and exceeded under district improvement goals. Now moving along, I'm going to go to the standards. Standard 1, instructional leadership. Proficient. It is evident that Mike has high expectations for his administrative team, staff, and students. He has coordinated a strong curriculum and assessment team to focus on vertical alignment of content areas. We are hopeful that with this concentrated effort, we will see the benefits district-wide. We feel that Mike is cognizant of different learning styles and the need of alternative learning environments and instruction. Mike has been supportive of the pilot year for the PBL program while cautiously observing and weighing all factors to determine the efficacy for our students. We feel this class has been productive. However, we have concerns about mixing grade levels and ensuring it aligns with the standards. In the process of helping our students succeed, we have concerns about varying homework philosophies, as well as differences among teachers using it to evaluate students. Overall, it was proficient. So moving on to Standard 2, management and operations. Proficient to exemplary. The overall was proficient. We feel that we can always be working towards more and improved ways to create a safe and socially, emotionally well-balanced experience in our district. With the growing diverse student population and the magnified social and emotional needs, we feel that we need more guidance in all schools. We understand that our budget resources must be directed to the new school this year. However, we need to find ways to add support for our guidance department. We would like to see this be a goal for the upcoming budget development. We feel that Mike has done a tremendous job with carefully planning for NIS. He has done a great job hiring highly qualified candidates for key positions, and we are excited and confident that we will see a smooth transition for that school and district-wide. Standard 3, family and community engagement. Overall rating was proficient and exemplary. This is an area of strength for Mike. He has an admirable commitment to our children, the schools, and our community. Although there are challenges in making everyone satisfied with outcomes, Mike makes great effort to make time to meet with families and stakeholders, to hear concerns and address them fairly. With the hiring of a new director of special services, we understand that Mike will be busy acclimating Michelle to our district. With this new addition to our administration, we hope that our families and students feel that they are receiving a fair evaluation and that all of our students are able to reach their goals that have been thoughtfully and appropriately set. Again, that was proficient and exemplary for Standard 3. Standard 4, professional culture. Overall assessment was proficient. Mike's commitment to providing the best educational opportunities for every child is clear. Our district has had an overwhelming increase in enrollment with diverse population. It is key that we continue to educate our students and staff on the importance of cultural proficiency and ways that we can all benefit from the diverse community. Mike has supported and provided opportunities for our staff to attend conferences and professional development. We appreciate his efforts for continued learning and have witnessed the benefits of these experiences with inspired and invigorated teachers presenting to the school committee. As a committee, we look forward to building a strong foundation in our new strategic plan for the future of NPS. We seem to have stronger feel of camaraderie throughout the administration team this year due to Mike's perseverance and his efforts, and overall that category was proficient. And I'd like to just read our summative comments. First of all, our overall summative performance was proficient for Mike, and rate on student learning impact was high. Mike is an exceptional leader, and those who work with him note it. Mike has had a tremendously busy year with managing the planning, community outreach, and process of building NIS, as well as teacher negotiations, on top of his everyday superintendent workload. We feel the budget process was well managed, transparent, and inclusive. We look forward to a new year with the opening of NIS and working on a shared vision through the strategic plan that will benefit all. I would just like to thank Mr. Kozort for all he has done for us.
Thank you.
And that wraps up our superintendent evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Excuse me, I have such a sore throat. I'm going to take a sip. Moving on to new policy. We have a new policy we're not voting on this, but this is a new policy for you to look at, commitment to accomplishment. Our policies committee meeting happened a week ago, or was it a week ago? Yeah. And this was something we thought would be a good addition to our policy handbook.
Is this something that is typical in other districts or was recommended by MASC, or is this something we created?
This is not something we created. It was in the MASC
Okay.
These are new
policy book.
Nice. I very much like this one.
So take time to review it, and then we'll bring it up for vote at our next meeting. Okay, all right. New policy BID, school committee member compensation and expenses. We thought this was good for clarity for all school committee members. New policy BJ, school committee legislative program. New policy BK, school committee memberships. And new policy BEDH, guidelines for public comment. This was interesting. We noticed that, this isn't the one changing the public comment time, was it?
Yes, it actually.
Is this the one?
It's in the amended policy, BEDH, that's coming up a little bit later.
Okay.
But this did outline a little more specifically the expectations that you would have. And I think it does say in here that The public comment shall be for a period and shall generally following the opening of the meeting.
Perfect.
We had discussion about that.
Great, so if you guys can review those and we'll bring them back to vote for our next meeting. Any comments from the public? No comments? Moving on to discussions and votes to be taken. May I have a vote to approve the gift donation from the Nantucket Yacht Club to Nantucket High School gift account for accidentals and naturals in the amount of $500?
Before we vote, my question was, why is it dated 2014?
Right, I had the same question, the letters likely just misstated.
Yeah.
So it's 2016? No, it was July. That's a huge typo. Okay, so it's this year's date.
Yes,
Just wanna make-
so with the change.
Okay.
With the change, may I, of the correct
Motion
date?
to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a vote to approve gift donation from Nantucket Catering Company to the Nantucket High School gift account for uniforms?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a vote to approve the gift donation from Bo and Elizabeth Almodovar to the Nantucket High School gift account for wood shop class, supplies and tools?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I have a vote to approve the gift donation from Don Allen Auto Services Incorporation to the Nantucket High School activity account for the class of 2017 in the amount of $4,000?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have,
Recused from this.
thank you. May I have a vote to approve the gift donation from Egan Maritime Institute to the CPS gift account for maritime studies in the amount of $17,000?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. May I have a vote to approve the gift donation from Martha's Vineyard Community Service Incorporation to the NES gift account in the amount of $104?
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I thought that was interesting, the Martha's Vineyard Community Services wanted to donate to Nantucket Public Schools, but I was very excited. Vote to approve gift donation from Cape Cod 5 Foundation to NES gift account for K and 5th grade mini grant in the amount of $1,000.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I have a vote to approve school choice participation?
Motion to
Now,
approve.
if I can interject?
Sure.
That is the vote that, in which we indicate that we are not going to participate in school choice because of the island situation. So take that into consideration
So-
in your motion.
Can you expand as to what school choice is?
School choice allows schools in a general area to cooperate and allows parents to choose another school in the area that they may live. It happens more often in, well, I was going to say in the cities, but that's not necessarily true either. And you have to have room in your schools, and you accept students. Being an island school, it's not practical for us to participate in school choice because somebody's not going to,
Take a vote every day.
take a boat every day. So
Thank you.
So can we just do that once again? May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, amended policies. So we had some policies that we looked at and made some changes. It was mostly for mask recommended changes.
right.
So does anyone have any comments or questions about the first policy to adopt for amendment, tobacco products on school premises prohibited?
What were the changes?
You know, I didn't highlight that one. I'm sorry.
okay.
I
That's
usually
okay.
try to do the red, but I think it was the title.
And the
Okay.
description,
It
it
was,
didn't say tobacco, it had a specific product.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I don't think it added
exactly.
electronic
Cigarettes.
cigarettes
Yeah.
and that sort of
Beautiful.
thing.
So may I have a motion to adopt this amended policy, ADC, tobacco products on school premises prohibited?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
School committee powers and duties.
I have a question just on this, just with the recent hiring of Michelle. Is that the change that's here, that it's under special education now, is under the other administration?
Yeah, this was interesting to me because it includes school physicians, school nurses, and this was the mask policy and school business and assistant superintendent. So many of those I knew. I was surprised by the school nurses piece.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that until we reviewed this last week.
How does that work in practice?
I don't know. I think it would be a message to me that any of those positions I would need to bring to the school committee for a vote of the school committee, a recommendation to you and approval by you in that case. I guess that's what I would do moving forward.
Yeah, I would imagine in larger schools, they have a need for those positions like that, full-time employees.
School nurses aren't always in a collective bargaining agreement, as we have in this district.
I guess that would be some
They're
of
part
my
of it.
concern. Just my personal experience with the town manager will make recommendations for hires of certain key positions, and the Board of Selectmen has a time frame in which to object or to make a comment on the hire. And I wonder if something like that might be a little less cumbersome instead of having to bring the applications.
I think if you wanted, I can consult our attorney and ask him about, the physician, the nurses. I do think that the assistant superintendent and special ed administrator are statute. I'm not sure if that last part with the physician and nurses and supervisor of attendance are statute.
Yeah.
So
I'd
if you'd
like to do a little bit more
Okay.
research on that one, and if there's possibility of adding some language, I can
Okay.
look at the town charter for how the language is on the objection, so that each of these applicants doesn't have to come into a public meeting scenario unless we had specific concerns over it.
The nice thing is, I think the school nurse position is a highly sought-after position, and I don't think the turnover is very, very quick. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's an interesting change to the policy.
So would you like to table this?
I would like to table that. I'd make a motion to table policy BBA.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Policy BBBA, BBBC, school committee member qualifications, oath of office.
Second, I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Just a note on the agenda, item 3, it says BBBC, but on the policy it says BBBD.
Yeah, it is BBBB, so
Right.
thank you.
Okay, policy BEDA, notification of school committee meetings.
Motion to approve.
Yep, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Policy BEDH, public comment at school committee meetings. This is what I found interesting, and Zona actually sort of brought this to my attention, but moving public comment to the beginning of the meeting. We thought that would be an interesting change to the agenda.
This is a recommendation of Matt.
Mask.
But I think you also, as chair, have the ability to change it.
to entertain.
And even bring in an additional public comment, right? Should you
That
feel-
sentence is still
Right.
there.
Yeah. Okay.
In my one-on-one conversation with Jen, I just noted that similarly, the Board of Selectmen meetings have public comment at the beginning for any item that's not on the agenda. So it's the time to speak about something that's not already scheduled, and then to reserve comments per agenda item at your discretion throughout the meeting. So I'm in favor of it. We can see how it works.
Yeah. May I have a motion to
Make a
approve?
motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. BHE, use of electronic messaging by school committee members. We just added a couple of key words.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of March 7th, 2017?
Make a motion to approve minutes March 17.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I have a vote to approve March 28th, 2017 meeting minutes?
Motion moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
A motion to approve the school committee meeting executive session minutes from January 20th, 2017.
Make that motion. The second one.
Well, I wrote them, so I'd rather not.
Oh, so,
Nice.
You weren't there.
I know, I can't second them because I wasn't there.
I'll second.
Okay.
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Transfers and invoices. Any questions or comments about the transfers and invoices?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on to the superintendent's report.
We added an enrollment for the month of April. You will see that one less than in March, and there were 10 withdrawals at the elementary school and 4 entries, and then 0 and 0 at the middle school, and 3 withdrawals and 6 entries at the high school. You had mentioned having a little bit of data. It's hard to extract. You know, we have parent, relocate, personal, and then some of the enters were re-entry from before. In asking the principals, they explained to me that they do continue to see some students leaving because of housing, which I think was maybe what you were looking for in
And the
Finding
re-entry,
the
does
reasons.
that seem to be, again, what we suspect, which is seasonal?
I don't know if that particular one is. It's not unusual for us to have some reentry. I would defer to the principals if they have specific knowledge about that reentry. I think it was at the high school, but
Okay, just
yeah.
curious.
Mike, on a separate note, I was having some conversations about data collection in general as a community initiative to start to understand trends around our growth. And clearly these enrollment numbers are really important part of that, and they are publicly available. And I'm sure you have been or will be contacted about the project as it sort of grows, but that kind of anecdotal information, if there was some way to more formally track it, I think would help the community at large understand some trends in various impacts that we see directly affecting our students and families. So I'm not entirely sure how that would get put together or translated, or if it is indeed important, but I just offer that as consideration, the larger community picture.
So I'm not sure what you're saying. Are you saying that somebody will be in touch with me to look at the story behind the numbers?
I think at some point, these enrollment numbers will be part of a larger initiative that's going to be taking place, and conversations are taking place to understand growth in the community in general. And I'm just offering that as a part of that, this more anecdotal information about the populations of our students with enrollment, whether or not people are leaving the island because of housing and things like that, may just be additional information that could be helpful in the long term. So
I have had some conversations, and I'm on a housing group with a number of community members. I have shared our enrollment numbers, which don't always echo the communities as a whole. It's kind of interesting that way, but certainly you can see trends, and it's pretty routine where people will ask me for that 20-year look that I've done, and I've shared that with a number of people. But I'm happy to share what we.
No,
what we have.
I know that you are, and and I'm sure that some of those conversations are already happening, as you indicated. I'm just suggesting that this more anecdotal story that Zona had requested about, understanding the whys between withdrawals and enrollments might help lend some context, larger community context. That's all.
Yeah, I just, to explain myself even, when you see 10 withdrawals, you got to ask what they are, what's causing them, right? And we're a small enough school and community, 1,500 kids, but to ask those questions or to know the answer to those questions, and then when you have a reentry, so somebody drops off the face of the earth for 6 months and then they come back to school, does nobody ask the question, where you been? What happened? Is there something we can do to help? I'm just curious if that's something that we have on the radar and are privy to. Now, I think, I know this is a public forum, and I'm not looking to, put someone's business out there, but I think a general explanation for us, specific, is warranted. And that's the kind of information that I'd like to know personally.
But
as a school committee.
how deep do you want, and how deep can we go, is my question. When somebody comes in and says, we're withdrawing.
Do you ask why? Or
Sometimes,
allowed to ask why?
I think the principals could speak to that. I think guidance, they typically would do it through guidance, and they might have an idea. Principals, please.
Sure, I think that's part of the conversation when somebody comes back that has been absent for an extended period of time, or somebody who's leaving unexpectedly, but some of that stuff is quite personal. I'm not sure how we could share that other than.
If you say 5 of the 10 are personal, 3 of the 10 that they relocated to a different school district, that's the specifics I want. I don't want to know,
It's on there.
Yeah, we have relocated parent, personal, but I don't know that gives you the detail of what you're trying to get to. But we
I
have
just want to know.
reentry, parents, personal.
Are you looking more
so
to see
we
if
have
they're
that
going
for-
into another school district? Because I think schools will
Or if
require
we're
a
not
transcript
providing
set,
what they
right?
need. I think I'd like to know as much as I can know without invading their privacy. Did they leave our school district because there's a language problem and it just didn't work for them, blah, blah, blah? Did they leave our school district because the parent didn't feel like they were getting what they needed here? And because we have all of those scenarios out there that we're all aware of. So I think I'd like for us to have a good gauge on that. And then that's one of the, that can help us grade, for lack of a better way to put it, Mr. Cozart, when we do his review and stuff, and he's saying he's in touch with the parents and the students and their needs, and if we know a little bit more of the specifics, we can do an honest evaluation, as opposed to we're sitting up here and these guys are down on the ground working with the kids and their parents. I mean, let's be honest. We're not in here every day watching and seeing, and Mr. Cozart and his team are. But I think as a school committee, aren't we responsible to a certain extent for what's going on in our school? And if you're
sounds like we just
responsible, you need to know.
Sounds
You
like we've
can't-
got a policy that talks about a commitment to accomplishment.
That's right. So you have a responsibility to be in the know, and we cannot be in the know if we don't know.
I wonder if
Sorry.
a solution might be to, and I think on the sheet that you have referenced there, Mike, that clearly probably has some personal information on it, but if there were maybe 5 categories that could be tracked somehow graphically, if it was, that whatever the categories agreed upon are, but there's just, one of 5 and it gets like a little check mark or a something, just to understand, to your point, to understand the trends of, because so much I think of the enrollment and the withdrawals is also about economic conditions or people's
Absolutely.
personal lives and
Absolutely.
taking care of family members and things like that. So there's such a variety of issues if we could maybe somehow broadly categorize them.
We will probe a little further.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually reach out to Peter
Just
for a moment.
anecdotally, near 100% would fall into the categories of moving off island because of employment or because of housing. Almost every student that withdraws, it's one of those. Now, sometimes there's split families and they're living with one parent here and then the other gains custody. There are custody issues, but almost always someone gets a job off island, so the family relocates, or if they can't, they lose their housing. The house that they're renting gets sold, and they have to relocate.
Is there an application process to withdraw your student? There has to be, right, a paper or something. So I wonder if attached to that paper, we could have just those sort of 5 areas. Because I think for most parents, or a lot of parents, this is a very emotional moment when they're unenrolling.
It is, yeah.
So I would think if we could just provide something where they could mark, with a little paragraph of, this is meant for the best intention, we're not looking to pry, but we are interested in knowing, could you please mark the area that most suits your circumstance? That, I think, would give us an idea of whether it was, housing or whatever. But I agree, we can't get into too personal detail, but if we had that on each withdrawal, at least that could be something that could come back to us as from the parent, right? So.
Mike Horton.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I think it'd be interesting if we were to plot the data visually, to look at different times of the year, different months. Are there certain times of the year, and I'm going to guess spring and fall, when there are peaks that will probably match up with housing changes, lease changes, rent changes, costs of housing for the months. 17 years ago, when I was a teacher assistant, there was a mass exodus after Columbus Day weekend. And then there was a return probably mid-May when the restaurants reopened, the private clubs reopened, a lot of inns reopened. That was back when the population was less than 10,000 people year-round. So now more and more people are just deciding what's best for the kid is to stay here the whole year, make it work. There's more work here. Why chase the money to Florida or Vermont or Colorado or the ski industry or other restaurant industry? So for a long time it was pretty stable. But I also want to point out that as our numbers have gone up, 10 isn't as significant as it used to be. 10 out of 1,600 isn't as significant as 10 out of 1,000. So as we have higher populations, we're going to see some larger numbers of exits and entrances. And I will say that the guidance department, we have all the paperwork, we asked all these questions. We asked, hey, do you have any records? Where were you? It helps with placement. It helps with, does a student have a transcript? Were they out of school for 4 or 5 months? So we might do different things. But we ask those questions when students re-enroll.
And I believe this is happening behind the scenes. We just don't know the exact reasons, and I'm on the fence. I don't know if we're necessarily privy to those personal
that's good
reasons.
information to have. I mean, when he says 10 out of 15, you know what? That's that whole section right there. And when I'm looking at those 10 faces, that's a lot of faces to me.
But I would hope that if a family is leaving because they feel that their child is not receiving what they need to, that they would be reaching out to the guidance
That's just an
department
example I use.
and the,
If you don't
principals.
know, you don't know. There could be any
Right.
one of those choices. And I forget, are these year-to-date figures? Or is it a time period?
Monthly.
So that's
And that's
one
in the
month.
month of March.
So,
Those withdrawals and entries reflect the month of March.
so it
Appreciate
would be useful to have a chart to track it. It would be useful to keep a running of that, just information. I think in this case, more is more information. Feel informed.
Thank you. Can I bring up something else? On the mask listserv, there's been a lot of conversation about the post-student survey for the mask test, or the MCAS, I'm sorry. Many people are opting out of it. I am not familiar with the questions on the test. I'm wondering if we could,
Out of the survey.
the survey.
Opting out of the survey.
Opting out of the survey.
Yeah,
The post-test student survey.
yeah.
So I'm wondering if we could please get a list of those questions. Why is it so controversial?
I think that for some people, the MCAS is controversial. And I think that for some people, they feel that the survey, any kind of survey, is an invasion of one's privacy. I looked at them. My reaction was dismay. It seems to me that the Department of Education is intruding further and further into the decisions made by not just schools, but families. That's just my personal take on it. We haven't discussed it as an administrative team, but I think I did make an editorial comment in an email to them when I first saw it.
Okay.
So,
Well, as a parent, I was not aware that there were questions post-test
I think it's proposed for the new test, though, is that correct?
coming up.
for
Yeah,
this
I know.
Yep,
coming testing.
yep.
So I don't believe parents are aware of this survey afterwards, as far as I'm concerned. And it is something that I'd like to look into and discuss further with potentially, after everyone reviewing questions, deciding whether we want to opt out of the post-survey.
Well,
Is it
we
too
as a
late?
district cannot opt out
We
of the
can't?
MCAS survey. No.
There are specific schools that are opting out
I
of the
think a parent, first of all, there is no provision to opt out of taking the test.
right.
People think that there's discussion about that, but the Department of Ed has made it very clear that that is not an option, and that if you do that, you will pay a penalty as a district. I don't know what the instructions, and we can look into that.
I would just like to look further into it, and I would like families to be aware.
Yeah, I think to Jen's point, there have, and now I'm feeling a little confused, I think that there were communities that opted out of the survey, if I recall correctly, but
There
we'll have
were.
to go back and,
Well,
maybe we
typically,
can look
a
at that and
survey
forward
is
it to
just
you.
that, a survey, and you usually
Right.
can opt out. So I can't imagine if we
And
chose not to. We could.
Some concern is that the survey is tied to the individual student. So there's confidentiality and privacy concerns.
It's not, but you can't do it anonymously.
Jen, are you able to forward some of those listserv conversations to Mike, just so he can review
Sure.
them?
Absolutely.
I'll look at my email too to see if I still
Sure.
have them, but I may not have saved them.
Thank you. All right, on the horizon.
Up next week, and I'll remind you that it's next week, not vacation week, so we'll be here again on Tuesday. We have the Quiz Bowl. I've talked to Mr. Panchi, and his team is practicing even today.
Great, hopefully Tim will be back.
So,
Just want to remind you that he's been useless in the quiz bowl.
who has?
With Tim, I said hopefully Tim will be back. She wanted to remind me that he's been useless, yes.
Of course, I said that on a day where he can't defend
Like
himself.
I will include the school committee and task force assignments. I'm trying to think, the vote is
The 11th.
the 11th. So I don't know, maybe that should go to the May meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But at
Great.
some point, we could have a reorganization
Yes.
meeting.
We
soon
typically
after the
do.
11th.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what Jen's comfort is of staying chair. How long after the election you're comfortable with that, but we should pick a date to do a
I
reorganization.
think that's a good idea. Do you want to decide next week once Tim is here,
Yeah.
if that's okay? And we'll pick a date
we will have
between the 11th and the 2nd.
we will have the audit report, and I believe the Friends of Nantucket Public Schools, I'm going to look your way, Logan, will be there at the meeting, and I'm not sure that SNAC will, feels that they have anything to report, so we'll take that off. And,
You don't want to move them to another meeting?
well, we've done it twice now.
Okay.
We've moved them, and so I think the last word was they really didn't have anything new to report. We'll have the audit report, and I think that the graduation rate report, Dr. Bucky is in, so we can put that on either April 11th or the May 2nd meeting, whatever you prefer.
I would defer to, I'm not sure what the length of the meeting seems like. If it feels like that agenda is too heavy and you have a chance to move something, I'll just defer
Okay.
to the chair and the superintendent.
Same.
That's it for me.
Any subcommittee or work group happenings?
Have a report, but not subcommittee.
Okay, go ahead.
Comment.
Sure.
Not that I want to step on anyone's toes, but the culinary team went to Worcester for the culinary state competition, and they came back with a silver medal.
Very good.
I know the culinary teacher was very proud of his team, and they worked very hard prior to the competition, so.
I like to say
That's
this
very nice.
acknowledgement is useless without a taste test.
Yeah, it's true. I don't think those kids want to look at those dishes anymore.
I'm
but-
sure not. I'm sure not. Although I do think
you.
one year we did get a
We
little.
did.
We did, because
Yes.
it was right
Yes,
before
we
they
did.
went for competition.
Yes.
So
It
good.
was very nice.
So good.
We'll see what we can do next year.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. May I have a motion to
So
adjourn?
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I'm just going to ask for you each to sign the evaluation.